Hey everybody, welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me as always for this January 2023 preview episode are my fabulous co-hosts.
Hello, Rob. It's Diana.
Hello, Rob. It's new Jackie coming in hot.
What's new about this, Jackie?
Well, it's just new. It's new January, Jackie.
New January, Jackie?
Full of goals and dreams and aspirations
It's good. You want to have those in January.
before February comes along.
Oh,
Yes. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, yes. Wow, can you believe it? Another year celebrating behavior analysis and behavior analytic research in this here podcast where we pick topics related to the field and discuss articles.
We do that.
Related to the field, except for weeks where we just talk about the articles that we will be discussing in the future, which is what you are listening to right now. So if you said, oh boy, I heard about this ABA Inside Track show. I'm a BCBA, I'm a behavior analyst. I want to learn more. I want to keep abreast of the research topics, maybe get some CEs. I'm going to pick the January 2023 preview. Well, that's great. Thanks for subscribing.
It is a good place to start.
It might be. You might want to go back a week or maybe 2 weeks because we just did our bonus before then. So maybe go back 2 weeks if you want an actual full episode. But you can listen to this one just fine. Just hit subscribe. Whatever you do, hit the subscribe button. You want to smash that subscribe button. Smash it real hard.
Smash it.
Well, yes. So we're here talking about.
Follow us on the gram.
You can. We're there. In any case, we made it through another year, made it through 2022. Last week we had our...
Presumably, we're recording this in 2022.
We're recording this in the future, so yeah. In the past, I mean, so yes.
In the
So
future.
who
We're
knows?
recording this in the future in 2024.
But we're here to talk about everything coming out on the show this January, as well as, I guess, things that happened right at the end of 2022. But before we do that, one of the things that we all celebrate is Christmas. We all hopefully had a nice Christmas. Again, this is a little before the season, so who knows if we just got a bunch of garbage. What do you think you got, Jackie?
I also celebrate the winter solstice.
Okay.
In a hardcore way.
Did that happen already?
Yeah.
That's the same day, 25th, right?
No, it's
No.
the 21st.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
What do you do?
Does
What
it
do we do?
change year to year?
It's always the 21st.
Oh, it's 21st? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
We have a fire outside at night
Mm-hmm.
to welcome in the new light because this winter solstice represents the longest night of the year. It's the shortest day, longest night. So we have a fire to bring in the light, to chase away the darkness. We read books about the solstice. My favorite is Solstice Badger. It's a child book.
Oh, okay.
Where the sun goes deep down into the earth. That's why it's
It's not an erotic thriller for adults.
No. The sun goes deep down to the earth and finds a friend
Oh, that's nice.
with a badger, and that's why the night is so long
Oh.
because the sun is
you just
hanging.
get caught up chatting.
Yep, hanging with his badger friend.
Oh, okay.
We read a book called Sunbread, and then we make sunbread.
I saw a picture of the sunbread the other
Yeah,
day.
we made it early this year because my kid was losing her mind because it's a long process of baking and dough rising, and she's like, "I'm gonna be at school," and I was like, "Okay, we will make it early." And then if we don't have any left, we'll make it. So we do all those sorts of things and talk about what we're going to do in the winter.
That's
was
fun.
gonna-
Celebrate that.
Tell you, Jackie, that the story walk this month is a solstice story
I know. We went.
called The Shortest Day of the Year, I think.
The shortest day.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, we went there too. We also, Sylvia doesn't like that one as much, but I also make her read it because I find it really pretty.
It was
Cool.
really pretty.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what we do.
So you had some fun winter solstice activities by the time this comes out.
Yep.
Diana, I know you and I celebrate. We don't celebrate winter solstice, so that sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe we should add that to our list of ways to celebrate the time of year. But we had Christmas. Is there a present that you were hoping you got and maybe you're going to get?
We celebrate Santa's commercialism holiday.
Yes. Baby Boomer Santa.
I don't know what I got yet for
What do you hope you
Christmas,
got?
Rob?
And listeners, there's not enough time for me to order it. So if Diana says it now and then she gets it, it's not because I got it. Cause,
I don't ever hope for anything particular. I did add something to my Amazon wish list, though, but probably too late for anyone to actually get it for me. But it's just a sweatshirt that says Side of Ranch, please.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I actually really hope that I do get it someday.
Well, your birthday's in this month, so
That's true. You got a birthday coming up this month, too.
Going on to Amazon right now.
Yep, that's a good idea. I have the recording stuff open, so I gotta wait a
I
little
don't think
bit.
I actually have access to your wish list, so.
There's a way you just look for it. I don't really know.
Okay.
It's
Who knows?
public.
Who knows how these things work? Well, I know one thing that I really appreciated in 2022 was the two of you reading all sorts of different books
Well, wait,
and
are
sharing
you gonna
books.
tell me what you want for Christmas?
Oh, what do I want for Christmas?
Or what do you hope that you got?
I it's not so much about what I get. I think leading up
I
to
see.
Christmas is my favorite time of year.
Uh-huh.
And then Christmas is sort of like the signal of, it's not Christmas for a long
It's
time.
not about what you get for Christmas, Rob. It's all the gifts you bought yourself along the way.
And there were a lot of them. Oh, boy.
All right.
So,
Fair enough. I'm taking over now.
Wait, no.
What?
I was saying something and you
Oh.
interrupted me with my wish, which wasn't that exciting. I was saying one of the things I liked about 2022 as you rolled your eyes at the
fine.
length of our recording, whatever, it's been 5 minutes. I think we can go a little longer. Is how much you two read a lot of non-behavior analytic books. We don't always talk about stuff we do that's not behavior analytic related.
Oh, yeah.
I know most people probably think that's all we do.
I tore
all
up
the
some
time.
books this year.
I have torn up books this month.
Wow,
I've read like 3 books in December.
that's amazing.
I know.
I was on a good tear, but I haven't read anything all the way through in a while that's not related to this podcast. It's getting sad. But in any case, I thought it was really cute, so I got you guys something. Jaggy wasn't here for our December recording, so we couldn't put it on there, but it might not work super well
you got
in
us a
audio.
gift?
I got you each a little gift. I forgot to take the price tag off, so you know what it is. But it's a little book club
Oh, my
kit.
goodness.
I thought of you two when I saw it.
Your love language really is gifts.
It really
is.
is. Oh, this is really
very sweet.
Thank you, Rob.
I know.
It's a book club kit.
Yeah, we didn't tell the audience. It's a book
a little
club
book
kit.
club
It
kit.
says it has conversation prompt cards.
We need that.
A timer, a die, a book chart, and a book of literary cocktail recipes.
Wow. We really need the prompt chart because when Diane and I meet to talk about books, we're like, that was a good book.
Pretty good. Anyway. Thank you. That's so
Thank
sweet.
you.
You're welcome. I know you guys
You are really
have fun.
sweet and good about doing that
And-
for
and-
us.
I do.
We never buy you presents.
And I never get anything. No. That's why I have to buy myself all these things. Look behind you, folks. All the things I've purchased for myself.
I buy you a lot of things too.
Did you? Okay.
I
well,
don't. I'm
I'll
not-
look forward to them.
Mine is
Thank you.
Mine is presents.
Your presents?
My presents.
Your
Right,
presents
with a
here in the
C.
recording studio.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have fun. I know, the genesis of this podcast. Again, if you're that new listener, that was January 2023 preview. That's the one for me. This podcast started from having a journal club, which is like a book club. You read articles, and it was hard to get friends to join me. And I know that can be tough to get everyone together to do reading. So anything I can do to help you keep that dream alive.
Thank you.
No problem. But speaking of things that we need to read and discuss at length, we've got a whole bevy of episodes coming out this month. So Diana, take it away. What will we be discussing in January?
Alrighty, so we have 3 full-length episodes planned for January. The first one is a double guest episode, which
Excellent.
are very special, very exciting. And so we have 2 folks joining us to talk about behavioral gerontology. You may recall that we did discuss behavioral gerontology back in episode 56, but we're coming back around to it because this time we have Dr. Maranda Trahan joining us and Amanda Ripley as well. And we're going to talk about 2 different articles to get people oriented to the topic of behavioral gerontology.
I like that phrasing. Like, we're going to talk about the same articles from that episode, but they'll be guests this time.
No, these are new articles. Well, one of them is new and one of them is actually old. The oldie is Behavioral Gerontology, Application of Behavioral Methods to the Problems of Older Adults, and that was by Bergio and Bergio, published in JABA 1986. Taking it way back. And then more recently, we have Behavioral Interventions, our first-line treatments for managing changes associated with cognitive decline, and that was by Drossel and Trahan, published in The Behavior Therapist recently, 2015. Found it.
Recently.
All right, so that is our first episode of the new year. After that, we are going to release for everyone the live episode that we recorded in December. Am I getting that right, Rob?
I believe
Okay.
so.
Yes.
We did record it in December.
We totally did, but now it's coming out on the regular feed so everybody can hear it. And the topic that was selected by our Patreon listeners was visual supports. We have several articles we're going to discuss related to visual supports. The first one is Using Visual Supports with Young Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder by Meaden, Ostrowski, Triplett, Mishna, and Fettig, and that was published in Teaching Exceptional Children 2011. Next, the effects of a picture activity schedule for students with intellectual disability to complete a sequence of tasks following verbal directions by Duttlinger, Ayres, Bevel, Davis, and Douglas, and that was published in Focus on Autism and Other Developmental Disorders 2012. Then we have Integrated Visual Supports in a School-Based Micro-Enterprise for Students with Intellectual Disabilities by Fields and Demchek, published in Career Development and Transition for Exceptional Individuals, 2018. And finally, to round this one out, we will discuss visual supports to increase conversation engagement for preschoolers with autism spectrum disorder during meal times and initial investigation by Bateman, Wilson, Gavreau, Matthews, Guchua, Therian, Neville, and Mazurek. And that was in the Journal of Early Intervention, 2022.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun recording. I had a nice time. It was it wasn't a grab bag in the sense of like we each picked an article and who knows what it was about, but it was, a nice, I think, review of just ways to use visual supports. And I think the one of the ones that we discussed in terms of using the visuals for the vocational tasks, kind of the running the coffee shop, was not the best research article I read in 2022, but I think it was probably my favorite narrative article in 2022 in the sense of the story it told using visual supports. So please do make sure to listen to all the episodes, but make sure you listen to that one as well. Extra listen to it. Maybe listen twice.
Got it. All right. And then we also had another guest on for the next episode. Dr. Jamie Hughes-Lika joined us to talk about NDBIs, which stands for Naturalistic Developmental Behavioral Interventions. And she recommended 3 different articles, which we reviewed. The first was a multi-site randomized controlled trial comparing the effects of intervention intensity and intervention style on outcomes for young children with autism by Rogers, Yoder, Estes, Warren, McEachern, Munson, Roca, Greenson, Wallace, and Gardner. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not done. And Dawson, Sugar, Helleman, and Whelan.
Surprise!
Whoopsies. That was in the Journal of American Academic... No. What do you think it is, Rob?
Journal of American Psychiatric...
no, it's Journal of American... Academy.
Yes, the American Academy.
Child and Adolescent Psychiatry.
Yes.
2022. Sorry, there's only abbreviations on this article, so they leave you guessing as to what it stands for.
And when you go look that article up, there's only abbreviations on the various websites where they publish the article. You have to actually dig if you want to figure out the name of that journal.
Sorry about that. Then we are reviewing an article, which I think we actually also talked about in episode 84, EIBI, but it's such a good one, and it really does cover this topic well, so we revisited that one. Naturalistic Developmental Behavioral Interventions, Empirically Validated Treatments for Autism Spectrum Disorder by Schreibman, Dawson, Stammer, Landa, Rogers, McGee, Cassery, Ingersoll, Kaiser, Bruinsma, McNerney, Weatherby, and Halliday. And that was published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders 2015. And finally, Can the Early Start Denver Model be considered ABA practice by Vivanti and Stammer? That was published in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2021. So all of those are going to be episodes that we will release in January. Additionally, we will be discussing a book club in January, and that's going to come out towards the end of the month. The book that we will be talking about is Responsible and Responsive Parenting and Autism Between Now and Dreams. And that's by Eli Rosales and Henkel Wolf, published by Different Roads very recently, probably 2022.
Yeah, it's a really cute little book, too.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm going to find the date.
Almost
2021. Pocket. Sorry.
It's almost pocket size.
Yeah, it really is. And I can't wait to talk about it.
I also like the way the paper feels. I know that doesn't matter for some people, but the paper feels just a little
nice,
different.
yeah.
It's
like
a good quality paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, speaking of book clubs, Diana, I bet a lot of people are like, I'll just wait, it'll pop in my feed. No, I'm sorry. The book clubs are very special. They're only for our Patreon. So people who support us on the Patreon
Should've
website.
said that part.
So if you said, I want to hear them talk about paper for 2 hours, and, wouldn't it be great if I got CEs for that paper discussion for no additional charge? Well, we'll add more to the discussion, I'm sure. But at least for right now, we'll talk about paper. You can get 2 CEs for listening. And you have to subscribe on patreon.com/ABA Inside Track at the $10 and up premium level. It's the only way to get this one if you want this. Eventually, we usually unlock some of these book clubs, but it's like a year and a bit. Yeah. It's a long time. Yeah. And then if you want to get CEs, there's a fee. Skip the line. Head right to patreon.com/ABA Inside Track. You get all your episodes ahead of time. You get discounts on any CE purchase, and you get these book club podcasts, which we've done a whole bunch of.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Actually, there is more,
the phones
Diana.
Are ringing right now.
There is more, because if you are getting this on the Patreon feed, then this is a heads up that it's coming. If you're getting this on the free feed, this is a call to action to get over to Patreon right now, because as we speak, we have a poll up for our winter live episode, which will be in a month of winter that I forgot to look up before we did this recording. I want to say February. But
what's that? When the live episode?
When the live episode will be. I believe it's February. Dinah will double check that. But the
live episode will be both recorded in February and released in February.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about a subject voted on by our listeners around the theme of ethics. So we're going to have 3 different choices of ethical topics, and it's up to anyone who is subscribing and supporting us on Patreon to vote for the one they choose. So if you just are like, I love just listening to the show, whatever it is, it will be, and I'll listen and enjoy it, that's awesome. We appreciate that. But if you say, no, I demand it has to be on one of those 3, and I want my voice to be heard directly, loud, and clear, again, you're going to have to join us on Patreon. I'm sorry for the hard sell. It's a new year. It's hard sells this year, I think. We have 3 possible topics, and they're all around ethics. We have one topic, which is the ethics of RBT treatment. So we're going to be sort of, if that wins, we'd be looking into RBT-related ethical questions. We have a follow-up on our episode that we did on the conversion therapy papers and sort of the responding call to actions around that, where we would just look at the ethics of the undiscussed conversion therapy articles in Java, which was one of the recommendations that came out with our guests in our discussion, that we should really be shining a light on any of these old articles that no longer fit what we would consider our cutting edge ethics, and they didn't then and they don't now.
Right.
So we'll be a review of that.
That was episode 219 with Sarah Campo and Matt Capriati. In case anyone's wondering.
Thank you, Donna. You always have the citation. You're like a regular Stan Lee in the comics, and they'd say, like, I remember when I fought Dr. Octopus, and there'd be a little asterisk, and then it would remind you what issue that was. So you go
Stan Lee.
That's right.
I'm very similar.
Exactly. And our final choice. Well, your final choice, you get to pick.
Do you want me to tell you what it was?
What is it? Because I can't find my text thread.
It was the ethics of responding to fad treatments.
That's right. Ethics of responding to fad treatments.
That's my favorite one. Vote for that one.
Oh, okay. I kind of like that one, too. It wasn't mine, but I kind of want that one to win. But you know what? You vote for what you want, listeners. That's up to you. We'll do whatever one you pick. I put direct instruction on the poll every single time since we started doing these polls. It never wins. But if it did, we would talk about direct instruction. I'm starting to think we should just make it an episode. But no, I'm just gonna stubbornly put it on the poll until somebody votes for it. Almost won last time. But it won't be on the poll this time. It's all ethics. So that's patreon.com/ABA Inside Track. We also are, if you like our book clubs, we're also kind of working on maybe having a little conversation with the authors, which might come out as a bonus episode sometime in either January or February. So keep your eyes out for that. It's one of my favorite parts of doing these book clubs is in sometimes when you write the authors and say, we're talking about your book for hours and hours. Do you want to make sure we get all the details right? They say, of course I do. I don't trust you. No, they were very kind. So very excited to get to talk more about that book because you learn a lot talking with your colleagues, and you learn a lot talking with the people who created the works that we discuss. So it's always a lot of fun. I think that's everything that is either coming out or needs to be responded to this January. So that was a lot of things. So let's take a look in our own mailbag and see what we've got going on there. Jackie,
I got some things for
you
you.
got some things?
Yep.
Let's hear them.
So the first thing is that we've had a few listeners this month and last month email us about closed captioning and transcripts for the podcast if you're hard of hearing, and we hear you, right? And so...
Good pun.
Thank you. You can go to YouTube and then click on the closed captioning, and you can listen and read while on YouTube. So that's one way that you can access the podcast if you're hard of hearing. Another one is if there's a specific episode that you're interested in, send us an email and we can get you a transcript of that more formally than on the YouTube.
Yes, the only problem we've had with that is for some reason I can't get transcripts from any episode before number, I want to say like 18. So those first 17,
Sure.
I'd have to find another way to do them. But
Yeah.
anything after that, we either have the transcripts or we can get the transcripts, which is very, very, very cool service we use that has done that. So, whew.
And then the other thing that I want to say is that we've had a lot of listeners write in about our token economy episode and saying that it is mind-blowing and that they need...
Dr. Jason Beret?
With Dr. Jason Beret, and that
Okay.
they've had to listen to it multiple times to really grasp what happened.
It's a
and
very good one.
I feel the same way.
That's number 195.
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to that one yet, I would really suggest listening to it. We've had a lot of people say thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you to Dr. Beret.
Yeah,
Yes.
since he really shone light on all things token economy. And listener Lindsay said that she's going to be requiring it for some of her students to listen to. So
That's a tough
wow.
one for students. I think if you are someone who's used token economies and you remember that guy like David Macaulay, he'd write those like how do things work, or he'd like draw a picture of a castle.
I do
and,
not.
like,
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he had these like elaborate drawings and he sort of show you like this is how the toilets in Rome worked, and it was just these really like I never thought I needed to know how this worked, but now I do. I feel like that's one of those episodes. You need to know you like token economies or you know of token economies, and then you listen to that episode. You listen to Jason talk about token economies, and you're like, now I understand them in a way I never did before. And it's a real fun, I think it's a fun outcome, and I hope y'all do too.
yeah. And then lastly, listener Jamie sent us an email and thanked us for giving this the podcast a CE opportunity. She stepped away from the field during the pandemic, like many people did, to work, to hang out with her kids and her life, right? Because pandemic times.
In her house.
And in her house, right? And so now she's getting back in the field, and this is a way for her, to re-enter in a fun way. So thanks for telling
you
us
for
that,
listening.
Jamie.
Yeah, thank
Jamie.
you. That's awesome. You have many choices of CE providers, and we're very glad you chose ours.
But yeah, I think that's good for the emails for January.
I think so too. I'm excited to get started with this new year of ours.
If anyone wants to send me, one of my favorite things about New Year's is New Year's resolutions. And so if anyone wants to send us your New Year's resolutions in abainsidetrack.com, I will follow up with you every 3 months to see if you're doing them.
Oh, very nice.
Because that will be fun for me too. I'm still thinking about mine. Last year, I usually do really great. Last year I went overzealous and nothing happened. I went too far. I had too many.
Too many resolutions.
Too many very specific, very challenging resolutions.
Quality, not quantity.
Yeah, they were both. They were quality and quantity.
Oh, okay.
And so this year I'm really trying to scale back. So I'm trying to think of one or two. I had like 6. I had one in all areas of my life, and they were all very difficult.
It's very hard.
Well, you told me that you think you met your 1,000 hours outside.
Yes, that is true. Well, not yet, but we will. We're only
By the
5
time this comes out.
hours away.
Wow.
That's the
You
one.
could do that in a day.
I know.
We
So-
get almost exactly 5 hours of daylight here.
I know. So, yes, my daughter and I and my
kidding.
husband did the 1,000 hours outside challenge as a family, and we are only 5 hours away. So that is
Wow.
one goal. Last year,
Yeah.
in 2021, we were 2 hours off.
Oh.
Like, so sad. And, like, the last day of the year, like, bucket rained.
Right. Sad.
That is the challenge for being outside. I think there's chunks of year where it is unpleasant.
Well, we say there's never any bad weather. It's just bad clothing.
That's true.
Right.
To some extent.
So we'll go outside in the rain, but not for, like, a
But
full 2 hours.
Freezing sideways rain. That
That's-
one's really hard.
It's hard, but if you have the right equipment, it's not that bad. But you just can't go out for 2 full hours.
That's true.
No.
But it's okay.
Well,
We'll get there.
I hope I got a new coat for Christmas because all my coats are falling apart and I can't walk out in sideways freezing rain apparently.
You just broke your coat. like 2 days ago. And I've already bought all your Christmas gifts.
Oh, sorry. I guess
that
I
could
could go
just be
buy my
fun.
own coat.
So we're going to see what happens with that one.
All right. Well, then, I guess that brings us to the end of our preview episode. Thanks, everybody, so much for listening. We hope you subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast provider of choice so you can hear all of this great stuff. And if you want to make sure not to miss a moment or anything we produce, don't forget to support us on patreon.com/ABA Inside Track.
How could you bear to miss a moment?
How could you bear to miss them? There's so much narrative richness that you won't know. Because next episode, we're going to be talking all about like, oh, what book club questions were there? And I'm going to go, what are they talking about? Because you missed the preview. You got to listen to every minute. There's so much continuity in our discussions. Well, hope everyone's had a happy start to their new year. If you're a Patreon supporter, then we hope you have a happy new year because you're getting this right before the new year. So Happy New Year to everybody out there, and we will see you all for our next full-length episode. Until then, keep responding. Bye!
Bye.